Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa na'udhu billahi minash shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا هو وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. All thanks and praise is due to Allah. We seek His help and forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from evil within ourselves and the consequences of our evil deeds. Whoever Allah guides will never be led astray, and whoever Allah leads astray will never find guidance. I bear witness there is no God but Allah, alone without any partners, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his servant and his messenger. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. O you who believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except as Muslims in submission to Him. Ameen. When Mufti Umar started with us earlier this year, he inquired about who had a desire to give khutbah at the masjid. I definitely did not feel capable that I could do it, but I told him that at some point in my life I would like to do that. And he was very encouraging about it. May Allah grant him best place in Jannah. He was so encouraging that he wanted me to do it as soon as possible. So I've been trying to think and trying to do this for some time. Inshallah, as I speak today, what I would like to say is if anything good comes out of it, it is from the blessings of Allah. And if I make any mistakes, I seek forgiveness from Allah as well as from you for any mistakes that I make here. Inshallah, today I want to speak about a very simple and short surah from the Quran. And we all have recited the surah. I'm sure most of us have memorized the meaning of the surah also. I'm talking about Al-Asr. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. This is a very short surah that is there in the last parts of the Quran. It is so short, but it is also extremely insightful. This surah has played a very important part in my own life when 20 years back, when we had started a small technology company, we wanted to base it on Islamic principles. We actually worked with a group of very close Muslim friends, and we wanted to make this company based on all Islamic principles. I was led by a very good group of friends that I still work with. And one of the things we used to do during that company was start every meeting with this surah. We actually used to sit and recite this surah before every meeting, even if that meeting was just 15 minutes or so. And while we were constructing and helping build this masjid together, during one of the Shura meetings, my father pointed that out to me saying, hey, you guys should start these meetings using this surah also. So this surah plays a very important part from my own perspective, and it touches two very relevant and important topics that we have today, right? The first, it starts with Wal Asr, Innal Insana Lafi Khusr, right? It is swearing by time, it is swearing by end of the day that we as mankind are in a losing position to time. So it covers the part about time, and it covers the part about social structure, the good deeds that we do along with other people that we work with. So if you see the surah, it covers time and social structure. And time is a very important as well as a very interesting topic for everybody, right? Time is also something we use as an excuse for not doing the things that we are supposed to do. Commonly used phrase, I do not have the time. I don't have the time to do this. I don't have the time to learn about this. All of these things are dependent on time, right? Between the teachers we have had, between Mufti Umar, between Sheikh Atiyah, who comes here regularly to our masjid for various lectures, one of the things that I have learned through them is if you're going to talk about any topic from the Quran, you first look at how that topic is dealt in the Quran in other places. Then you look at the hadith, and then you go to other books and also your personal experience with that topic, right? So time has been covered in the Quran in several places. Time has the underlying importance of everything, right? When in Surah Kahf, Allah shows us that He has the capability to put to sleep the companions of the grave for hundreds of years and then bring them back to life. Allah is showing us that He has control over all dominions, including time, that He is able to bring back people out of sleep after hundreds of years and coming to that. Time is again referred to in the Quran in several places, whether it is in form of change of seasons, night and day, and everything else that comes in between that. Time is referred to regularly in the Quran. Time and the paths of the sun and the stars is one of the things that has been mentioned in the Quran so many times that it gave Muslims the lead in the study of stars in astronomy for the early Muslims. So we all know in terms of the importance that the Quran has placed on time. When we go to various other ways the Quran refers to time, we talk about zaman or dar, which is at the longer stages of time. We talk about sa'a, which is the hour, which refers to the last and final time frame that we live towards Qiyamah. And of course, in this surah, time is referred to as Asr, which is the declining day. Right? So if we look at all of these things, it is important for us to understand that time is something that we need to care about, right? So what is this that where the Quran is saying by the declining day, mankind is at loss. So if you think about this, there is an English saying that I've actually commonly used in many of my own discussions. When something stops growing, it starts dying, right? Please pay attention to this. When something stops growing, it starts dying. And this is true about everything that you see in life, right? Physically, as we grow older, we may start losing our muscle strength, right? Because they have stopped growing, right? Mentally, spiritually, the time that we stop growing is the time that we start dying. We know time changes. We know that things decay, they rust. By wear and tear and time, they go back. Right? So these are all the important aspects that this one line is showing to us, saying, Wal Asr, Innal Insana Lafi Khusr. By time, by daybreak, by the declining day, mankind is at a loss, right? That's the first part of the surah. The second part gives us the exception of how that mankind can stop that loss as we go forward, right? So, wal asr innal insana lafi khusr innal lazina amanu wa amilus salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Mankind is at a loss except for the people who do good deeds, right? Good deeds is the first part, and then who seek and give advice for truth, al-haq, and give advice for patience, sabr, right? So that's what the surah is giving as an exception, saying mankind is at a loss, but by doing good deeds and then being able to help each other through the process of seeking and giving advice on truth and on patience. The other part of the surah, if you look at the pieces that come together, I'll quote a hadith here. I won't go through on fully line by line of the hadith, but the Prophet was once asked as to who is most fortunate among the ummah, right? Who is most fortunate among the ummah? The answer was someone who has lived a long life and have done good deeds along with their long life, right? So normally a lot of people, when they give du'as, like older people, when they give dua to us on our good deeds, they always say, may you live long, right? So if you live long and do good deeds, that is a fortunate man. And if you live long and not take advantage of the time that you have on earth, that is unfortunate. So fortune is definitely defined in terms of long life with good deeds, which again goes back to the surah, with good deeds that we do. Time, again, for most of us is divided into three aspects, right? Past, present, and the future. And past, most people say, oh, we can't do anything about what we have done in the past, right? That's the standard belief in the Western world. You can't do anything about what you've done in the past. But what our Islamic values teach us is that we can do something about our past. We can repent to Allah. We can do dua. We can do tawbah to Allah for the mistakes that we have done and sincerely commit to not doing those mistakes in the future. That's what we can do about past, right? Based on the hadith, on the present, we are talking about doing good deeds as we go along, right? That's the basis of our present. And of course, the future, each one of us is concerned about our future. When many of the people are working and as they come to my age, we start thinking a lot about our retirement, about our health, about how we will handle things that are coming through. That's something that primary reason for anxiety in a lot of people is thinking about the future, right? So that's something that we think about. And of course, when we come to masjid, not only are we thinking about our future in this life, we are asked to think about the ultimate future, which is the akhirah, right? So the future is always dependent on the things that you are doing in the present. That's where those good deeds that we talked about in the hadith, as well as being able to work with other people come into the picture, right? The last part of the surah can actually take a full khutbah by itself. But if you think about just a brief discourse on this, one of the biggest problems in the modern world today is loneliness. A lot of people are lonely in terms of how they are, even though we live in the most connected world today, with all of our devices connected to all of our friends of all of our lives so far, right? Friends, family, everybody, we still live in a very lonely fashion, right? Most of us are unable to express or seek advice, right? And that is what this surah, if you see the last part, is emphasizing us to do, is to be able to have a group of people that you can seek advice from on truth, al-haq, and also offer that advice in terms of patience, right? So this is the understanding that I have got, and I've talked to a few sheikhs about it, and they seem to think that, hey, this is okay to think from that angle, right? So that is one of the things that I emphasize, saying that in this current social order, it is important that we have a group of companions that we can rely on in terms of seeking advice and also giving advice. And the advice is with regards to doing good deeds by belief, by faith, and by on truth and patience.